gang. Hello and welcome back to the Novice Lumberjack, where I have gone and done something else to the Husqvarna 55. So what we got here, all kinds of craziness, right? So this is an intake block that I made out of, I just call it machinable plastic. I'm sure there's a real name for it. You could tell me a million times and I'd probably still not remember. But anyways, oh shit, I left out my gasket there. Damn it. I've got to take this back apart because it has to have a gasket right there. Has to, must. Anyways, but this is the setup right here. What we have, I took the impulse off of the top of this Echo 590 carburetor, all right? Drilled a hole in my transfer there. Well, the hole was already drilled. I just enlarged it a little bit. Popped it right in. Had to grind a little bit off of it to clear the flywheel there. That's fine. But we're going straight into the carb here. Now, the carburetor is a 372 XP made in China clone carburetor. I've already closed off all the jazz for the choke. So this does not have a choke on it. Had to bore this out even more. Yada, yada, yada. You get it. There it is. There's the fuel line going in, the impulse coming around like this, and the intake block. Now, aside from that, what can I show you? I can show you it. The throttle linkage hooked up just swell. The only thing that's a problem is because this hole is too close in line with the, I don't know, the axis of the actual butterfly rod there. It's kind of hard to get going, but once you get going, it does go full throttle. It's just nearly impossible to give it, you know, like half throttle and stuff. But that's okay. It's purpose built for a race saw, and so the only thing you're going to be doing is wide open, and it does open it all the way. I did notice though that this Chinese carb all the way open, it was not fully opening up the throttle, and so anyways, it's that tab right there needed to get bent a little bit, and so I bent it a little bit. And what else? So I have a picture, but let's see if I can actually show you with the flashlight here. All right. No, you probably can't see in there at all. All right, so the picture is going to have to do. What I did with the intake block, I actually threaded the throat of it. I literally thread it with a what's it called? It's not a die. A die is the other one. I can't remember. Let me just show you. One of these. So this is actually the one. All right. I actually threaded it. And so the whole purpose of that is to hopefully get good laminar flow through that intake. And so, yeah. So I have now set up a 372 XP carburetor on this thing, and fingers crossed, you know, we'll see if it works good. All I'm doing really is waiting for that Durco to dry. The bolts go all the way through, by the way. You see that back there? I was able to cut little notches. All right, so the intake setup on a Rancher cylinder, it's got this little flange, right? I was able to cut notches on either side of that little flange, and that's what those bolt holes are getting a grip, those nuts are getting a grip on. So that bolt does go all the way through. So, like, if I was to just simply Durco that in place, well, as soon as I ran it, it would probably come loose and have air leaks. But this right here hopefully will keep me from having any air leaks. I will, however, like I said, have to take this carburetor back off and put a gasket in there, because without that gasket, it'll definitely get an air leak. Or at least I should do a better job. Anyways. But so it should all go back together without any problem. I might have to cut a little bit more out of the top. But we'll see. As it is now, I just got to put that gasket in place and probably give it a little bit more time for that Durco to dry, and then put it in the wood, see if it made any difference. All right. To be completely honest, it's still nothing to be super excited about. However, mystery solved. A bigger carburetor will allow it to get up there in the RPMs. So what you saw there, that last cut, nearly all of it was at 11,000 RPMs. Now, I don't know if it's this chain being real hungry or what. I don't know. I guess I do know. I should be able to put more power, be able to lean on it more. So it's not that powerful. I'm having to really balance it to keep it at the higher RPMs. But yeah, a lot of it was cutting at 12,000. But you know, you get into everywhere, it's really got a good hold on the full length of the bar and chain, and then it's a balance to keep it at 11,000. And then inevitably there are times where it drops into the low 10,000 range. So it's really low on torque, which is surprising. I mean, it's got a ton of compression, and it's got more compression now than it did before. Why is that? Because it's letting in more air and fuel. All right. A lot of people don't think about that, but your compression raises when you put a bigger carb on, if everything is right. All right. Because if you're letting in more fuel and air, well, then you're packing more fuel and air into that same small spot. You're going to have higher compression. It's got ridiculously high compression for it only having a 96.5 exhaust roof. You know, it's downright difficult to fuck. I ain't gonna deal with it no more today. Yeah, it's got high compression. Now, personally, I think that this saw would probably run a lot better if I did not have the 028 piston in there. And I'm not going to mess around. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to get it to run during the day of, and that's really it. Which is sad. Honestly, it is. It's sad because you want to be able to run them and use them, right? Even if it's just at a race, it's obviously real finicky and doesn't want to run quite right. So it's not the best build in the world. Like, I would choose a lower horsepower saw as long as it fired up and ran. But this is a race, and so it is what it is. But yeah, you know, I think that's a big feather in the cap, I guess you could say, just simply because I stuck with it. And it is pretty fast at this point, you know, for what it is. For what it is, okay? It's nothing special, but I have something to run. And if I had to do it all over again, though, I would not use that 028 piston. Because that great big hump on it, I think it's screwing up my wash pattern, as well as the initial explosion whenever you fire off that fuel. It's got to go around that hump, and I just don't like it. And I think that I would probably get better results if I had went with maybe a different piston that would have had a flat top on it. Or the stock piston, you know. Maybe someday I'll do another one of these builds just for the heck of it. But as of right now, we're all right. You know, that did cut pretty well. And this is big wood. We're not going to be cutting through something this big. It'll probably be, my guess is, a 10 by 10 block. And we'll see how it does with that, you know. But yeah, whenever it was really taking up the full length of the bar, I had to work with the balance in order to keep those RPMs the way that they were. If I just let the saw eat the way that chain is set up, it would have been low 10s, which, it's really not that impressive. It's just not at all. Windy, but beautiful temperatures here in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know, let's see if it'll start. enough for now.